Alright, everybody shut up, sit down. We're gonna talk about some booktubers today.
Yep, that's me.
It has come to my attention that a couple of you wanted to know my name. To tell you the truth, I didn't know I would be so popular. I'm quite flattered. You can call me Miss Roz, just Roz, because I don't like my maiden name. But today is not the focus. I'm not the focus today. We are here to talk about the history of booktube. First and foremost, we have to start about the age of creation. Where our booktube birth came from, essentially. Our two gods come from two different forms, one being AuthorTube and one being booktube. Upon my research, it comes to find out that Catty-tastic was the first author tuber, posting videos about NaNoWriMo, and then the booktube creation comes from Poem Banana's books, has been doing it for 10 years. Bless your soul. I can't imagine doing it. I've only been doing it for a year, so thank you for your service. Moving right along, we have the Great Egyptian era. This is kind of where we know how to do thumbnails. We have established the said book talk. And we've kind of taken everything we've learned from the Age of Creation and kind of put it on a better pedestal. Over here you can see the creators such as Jessie the Reader, Ariel Bossette, and a book Utopia, arising from the ashes. Moving right along, we have the Greek city-states. This is where we have created an upcoming empire, still small but ever growing in democracy and book tags. You can see more with TV and bookables coming into the picture, and also we can see the great debate of Edward versus Jacob, also known as the Trojan War. Moving right along, we have Alexander the Great, also known as Emma Books, spreading literacy and libraries since 2014. As you know, Alexander the Great has conquered Persia, Egypt, and India, or as I like to call them, Hyperion, Simon and Schuster, and the Shadowhunter Academy. What a great leader. We thank you, we honor you, you are the reason I am here today. Moving right along, we have the Roman Empire, also known as Top 5 Wednesdays, meaning it did a great service for us back in the day, and we still see its homage and influence today. Taking those skills, moving into the Middle Ages, we have the definition of what it truly means to be a booktuber. From reviewing to skits to reading vlogs, now we know what it means. It's still getting its foot in the publishing doors, publishing still not understanding the great power of said booktube and the influence it still can have. But we have ended ancient history upon the wave of 3 new rising queens, also known as Read by Zoe, Haley and Bookland, and A Clockwork Reader. Or you could call them bookmarked, but I'm getting ahead of myself. Over here, right after the Middle Ages, we have the Magna Carta. I like to call this Illuminae, because it really gave literacy a new meaning, saying we don't need to just write words on a document. We can do interviews, we can be multifunctional, we can have a full cast audiobook. Also, everyone read it, so everyone is under its rule. Moving right along to the Renaissance, we can see the new era and the new upcomers, where the path has kind of been carved. This is really the age of rebirth and discovery, meaning we have learned that we don't always need to praise the books we are reading, but sometimes a rant review is really necessary. Thank you, Paperback Dreams, for contributing the rant review. Quickly following the Renaissance, we can see the reformation of the divide of positive versus negative reviews. This is where we see Jordan Harvey, an insane reader, posting the 95 thesis of negative reviews don't want attention. Coming right off of that reformation and divide, we see the Age of Reason. This is meaning we have spoiler-free discussions now and quick, to-the-point reviews. The wrap-up was not developed down here. It was probably developed over here. Anywho, this is really the era of thoughts on tomes, really intelligent discussions, really trying to further the community, or you could also call this BookNet Fest. Right in between right here, we can see a new playwright developing right before we hit the American Revolution. We can see Leigh Bardugo rising from the ashes of Shadow and Bone to make a new and brilliant discovery called Six of Crows. that forged a new avenue of writers to not just follow the typical writing block, but more into the stage of future called Romanticism. But before we get there, we have to talk about the American Revolution. This is where we can see Greek tenets, but also the sarcasm and wit of the Renaissance to come into a perfect combination of Reed with Cindy, striking the perfect balance of democracy, sarcasm, and readathons. Next, we are tired of the Age of Reason, which leads to the desire to talk about liberty and basically whatever you want, meaning Romanticism, also known as smut-thon. We have the liberty to read trash and love it now. So, the Industrial Revolution is BookCon, because you really feel like a machine when you're there from not eating, sleeping, and just being fueled by excitement and arc drops. I didn't mean to do that. And post-BookCon, I have come into the roaring and raging 20s. This is basically Nikki, Leah, Vendi, Emma, Jessie, Christine, Chanel, Karina, and Rachel. What does that mean? It's that they're all raging good booktubers in their 20s. It's that simple. Moving right along, we have the 1950s. This can be summed up by Average Joe reads and TJ reads the stars. Why? Because they're very wholesome and family friendly, and everything they do is pure. This brings us to our final era that I can tell you about, which is the Age of Aquarius. This is about peace, love, and nostalgia, or carry the book bell, filled with discussions and panels all about diversity. When the moon is in the 7th house and Jupiter aligns with Mars, that will be Carrie's season. Now, that is all the eras I can tell you about, because the future of BookTube is yet to be written. But if I were a betting man, I would tell you the future is Noria. That is all. This has been the History of BookTube, brought to you by Roz. Tell me below in the comments, which era do you fit in? And if you want, I can assign you an era. Because, as you know, I am the local expert on BookTube and the publishing YA industry, and basically of the universe. That concludes the History of BookTube. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed it, and we'll see you next time. Keep reading, and Hannah would say, and all that jazz. And then it'll be the, that's me. Moving right along, we have the Greek city-states. I forgot what that was, so I have to look at my notes. This is such a weird ruler. When the moon is in the 7th high and Jupiter... What?
When the moon is in the 7th house.
When the moon is in the 7th house, the wave of thwart... I am burning up. I'm so hot.